geriatric giants is comprised of five eyes. Lima siyang eye. Immobility. Hindi ko ba yan? Ang immobility po is immobility under that, the pressure source. Incompetence or confusion, incontinence, that pertains to the urinary incontinence, and then impaired homeostasis or instability. Under that will be the falls and iatrogenic disorders. It talks about malnutrition of the elderly and the polypharmacy. I repeat, itong limang symptom nito, overlapping, this structure pertains to the geriatric giant. This term is a coined term by Professor Isaac, Bernard Isaac. So, lima siya. Other references or other books,
Because ano
be it
ginagawa nila
4
ako
or
eh.
7, pero with us, we'll be talking about the five eyes. Number one, immobility or
Why?
pressure
Ay, hindi
source,
pinali mo.
incompetence or intellectual impairment or confusion. And then we have the incontinence, the urinary incontinence. Number four, impaired homeostasis or instability that pertains to the falls. And number five, iatrogenic disorders. Ito yung polypharmacy and malnutrition. So these are the five geriatric giants. Now, if we're talking about geriatric syndrome, yun na yung sinasabi ko, si geriatric syndrome, mas specific siya. It talks about the falls, pressure source or pressure injury, incontinence, number four, confusion, meaning it's delirium versus dementia versus forgetfulness or amnesia. And number five, it's the polypharmacy. And number six, malnutrition. Minsan pwede na under geriatric syndrome, it could include
Wala
insomnia.
na tong ano.
Malinaw tayo? Malinaw? Okay. Good. So, yung polypharmacy, na-discuss na siya during midterms. Confusion, delirium versus dementia, andoon yun sa file na sinend ko. Sa cognition, and it's also discussed sa file ng chronic illnesses. So I don't have to repeat it or I don't have to discuss it again. So ibig sabihin, we'll be focusing on pressure injury, falls, and urinary incontinence. Okay, this is the technical definition of geriatric syndrome. It's characterized by its multifactorial origin. It's a combination of impairments leading to one specific condition that is typical for frail older patients. Typical meaning those conditions mentioned under geriatric syndrome and under geriatric giants, these are the usual causes of morbidity among the elderly who have. So the conditions mentioned, falls, incontinence, pressure injury, it is not a disease, it's a condition, or it's a condition related to an underlying disease. Kaya nga sabi ko kanina, si geriatric syndrome and geriatric giants are multifactorial at origin. It could be due to one disease or multiple diseases. It could be due to medication use. It can be because of hidden side effect of the medication. It can be due to the aging process itself. So ano pa ba? The geriatric syndrome can be a result of an unknown disease, idiopathic stroke, it's a condition. And heart disease is very common in the elderly, especially those frail elderly. So I'm hoping you've read the file, the frailty in the elderly, para makarelate tayo. Typically, again, GS, GG, it's multifactorial, it has different risk
Di ba sa dalawa?
factors, both non-modifiable
Dalan
and
niyo yung
modifiable
result.
risk factors.
Hindi daw.
And then it is linked with functional decline. Kaya nga sabi ko kanina, GS, GG usually
Hindi
results
kayo
to
nag-comment doon.
functional
Hindi
decline,
kayo nag-comment doon sa
increase in
GC.
frailty, and poor
Nagpakita pa kasi doon.
prognosis or
Sino yung
poor
nag-picture sa
health
akin?
outcomes.
Tulog.
So we start with cause. Under the terminology, under the
Nagsanay kami
concept
sa bago.
instability. So ano nga ba ang
Baho
cause?
na nga.
Namin cause.
Baho ng...
This is what? Ano ang ibig sabihin ng cause? It occurs when environmental hazards or demands
May sili yan ang deposit
individual's
ng pansin.
ability to maintain postural stability. So, in other words, nangyayari ang fall kapag patient's gait is unstable, patient's posture is unstable, and bakit siya hindi unstable? Again, it's multifactorial. Okay? Now, for the epidemiology, oh, ayan. Every 18 seconds,
Totoo yun.
an older adult is seen in the emergency room because of a fall. Ang fall ko ibig sabihin pwedeng nalaglag sa hagdan, which is the most common type of fall. Pwedeng nadulas sa dama. And complications of falls are the leading cause of death from injury in adults over age 65. Pag nalaglag, nadapa, nabagok ang ulo, sumama yung nagkaroon ng fracture, specifically hip fracture, or kahit anong klaseng fracture due to fall. Imagine, merong traumatic brain injury, nagkaroon ng internal hemorrhage, hemorrhagic stroke, that could be a cause of death, nagkaroon ng stroke due to falls. Pa, yung hip fracture, it's a very, Sir Ray, nawawala na tuloy ako. According to the statistics, critical ha kapag the patient has a hip fracture. And because we're talking about elderly, surgery could be an option, pero of course, because if the age and the presence of multiple morbidity, pwedeng maging disadvantageous ang surgery if there is a hip fracture. 33% of adults over age 65 report falling within the past year. In 12 months, there is an incidence of falls. Mataas. It's a big number of 33%. Most result in minor soft tissues injuries. 10 to 15% result in fractures. 5% result in more serious soft tissue injury or head trauma. And the cost is considerable. It warrants frequent emergency department visits. It could result to an admission or surgery. So maraming contributory factors ng fall. We have age-related changes, associated effects, medication induction, environmental. These target age-related changes, bakit visual impairment or visual decline may subject the patient to become may subject the patient to be at higher risk for fall. Muscular loss of hair cells and ganglion cells, bakit kaya? Maybe, bakit to identified as a cause for the patient to become at risk for fall? Yes, nakaabot ako sa time-in. So, pagdating ko sa class, busy lahat sa research. Maraming. Kasi meron na daw title proposal by next week. So, I gave them my time. May nakikinig ba sa akin kesa naman walang nakikinig sa akin? Oh. Ano ba yan? Sakit po din ang nalamunan ko. Alam niyo kung bakit nag-announce ako ng online class? Kasi 3 araw na kaming walang tubig sa subdivision sa Santo Domingo, Iriga City. So I was not sure kung I will be able to come here sa CSPC. And buti na lang, nagkaroon bigla ng tubig because we had another source of water aside from prime water. Nagpa-connect kami sa yung sa, I don't know, sa buhi ata yun. Alam. So yun po, ano ba yung meron sa vestibular loss of hair cells, ganglion cells, that makes the patient at risk for falls? Uy, asa si Mr. Vicente Dato? Di man lang in-acknowledge na ay siya ay tinatanong.
Ma'am, nag-CR daw po yun.
Nag-CR? Miss Lubat.
Ma'am, according lang po sa search ko po. Yung vestibular system po kasi nagpo-provide siya ng sense of balance. So kung meron pong loss of vestibular hair cells and ganglion cells, possible na nawawala yung sense ng isang tao na makapag-balance. Kaya po mas may risk to falls.
Okay, very good. Sino pang may ibang sagot? Maria Lourdes. Oh, wala ba si Miss Maria Lourdes?
Andito po.
Oh, ano ba yung sinabi ni Miss? Sino ay sumagot kanina? Oh. It has something to do with the body's balance system. O kapag compromised, there is a deficit or decline in the number, of course, compromised din yung or disturbed din yung vestibular function, resulting to what? Compromised body's balance system. So, yun lang naman po yung, of course, postural control declines, we're familiar of that, muscle mass, baroreceptor, and ANS. Now, sa disease-related effects, so, if during interview or during assessment, you've identified that the patient has Parkinson's, for example, there is motor abnormalities kapag mayroong Parkinson. So, there is bradykinesia or akinesia. The gait is unsteady. So, of course, at risk for fall. Same with patients patient who had cerebrovascular accident or post-stroke. Pero neuropathy or osteoarthritis, merong visual impairments and neuropathy. Medication effects naman. Okay, there are numerous medications that may cause drowsiness, which in turn makes the patient at risk for fall. For example, itong mga psychotropic medications, benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepine is a sedative hypnotic. It's also anxiolytics or anti-anxiety drug. And one of the side effects of that is it may result to drowsiness. SSRI or the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, the major side effect of that is serotonin syndrome. Anong meron sa serotonin syndrome? Ang epekto niyan, side effect will be autonomic instability. Mainly, the vital signs are unstable. Antipsychotics naman, one of the profound side effect of that is the extrapyramidal syndrome. And the way you describe extrapyramidal syndrome, it's a motor abnormality. The patient manifests akathisia. Yung paa, the paa keeps on pacing. O syempre, kung siya involuntarily, syempre, unsteady ang gait, matutumba sa patient. That's why the patient becomes at risk for fall. Ano pa ba? A patient taking antipsychotic may manifest, as a side effect, may manifest pseudo-Parkinsonism. So kung magtataka kayo, may umiinom ng antipsychotic tapos biglang meron ng manifestation ng Parkinson's disease. Minimimic lang po siya. That's why it's pseudo, false Parkinsonism or false Parkinson's disease. Pseudo-Parkinsonism. It only mimics the manifestation of a patient with Parkinson's disease. Ano yung manifestation? Yung sinabanggit ko na kanina. Unsteady ang gait, may akinesia, wala talaga, static, hindi nagalaw, nakatayo. Bradykinesia, very slow movement. Oh, that warrants extra precautionary measures kasi madaling matumba, mapatid. Oh, cardiac drug. So may one of the side effect will be yung mga rebound, yung mga sudden drop of blood pressure, especially in relation to changes in position or to static hypotension. Of course, hypoglycemic agent. Have you ever experienced hypoglycemia? Ano yung pakiramdam nyo? Sino na dito yung nag-hypogly na? Yes, you describe to us, Honey Angel, ang feeling na nagkakaroon ng episodes of hypoglycemia. Sige, Honey Angel, anong meron?
Saya. Motor, nandiyan ka ba?
Miss Honey Angel, how do you describe yung mayroong episodes of hypoglycemia? Nagdidilim yung paningin. Yes po.
Kapag po hypogly, ibig sabihin, kulang po ng sugar sa katawan. And then, yung mga nafe-feel po hypoglycemic.
Okay, there is almost muscle weakness. Tama. Thank you so much.
Person is mababa po yung blood sugar. So, yung mga nafe-feel ko po is
Nahihilo.
nandidilim.
Okay.
Nagdidilim po
Nagdidilim
yung
yung paningin.
nahihilo rin po ako at the same time.
Okay, nahihilo, lightheadedness, dizziness. Okay, good. Thank you, Honey Angel. Okay. Ito pa, yung anticholinergic also subjects the patient at risk for fall. Bakit? The same with hypoglycemic agent. It causes what? Dizziness, lightheadedness, cognition is compromised. Okay? Ano pa ba? Minsan, yun yung sinasabi ng didilim, mydriasis. Momentarily, parang your vision is impaired. Let's move on. Risk factors, hindi na natin isa-isahin yan.
Okay.
I'll be giving the slide po. Basahin po. Pag sinabi kong basahin, hindi lang basta binasa. Reading with comprehension.
Blindness.
Yun po. Ito yung mga risk factors. What are the protective factors against injury of fracture? Ito yung halimbawa. Already there is underlying condition by osteoporosis patient, for example. In order to prevent further injury,
such as fracture, the patient may resort, ay wala na, lobat ng aking. The patient may benefit from estrogen therapy. Remember, estrogen has something to do with the bone density. Weight gain after age 25, kaya nga diba sabi natin, the moment you hit the age of 25, everything is declining, starts to decline. Especially our metabolism, kaya mabilis mag-gain ng weight. Ang mga babae, mostly, kapag tumaas na, andun na sa edad na 25 pataas, hindi nag-charge ang aking laptop. Ano ba yan? Okay. Regular exercise, maybe it will be it will be beneficial to the elderly patient. Ano pa ba? Adequate dietary, calcium intake, and vitamin D supplementation as well. So how do we evaluate for the fall? Kailangan inaayos ko pa kasi hindi na sa charge. My gosh, may empty na. How do we evaluate for fall? So we have to know what are the modifiable risk factors. Evaluate. We have to know the history, activity at the time of the fall, location of the falls, may mga nakakita ba, ano yung nabago, bumagsak, sa pagkabagsak, ano yung tumama, meron bang history of previous falls, it could be of different character, and sometimes that's the challenge for us nurses to elicit or to let the patient disclose previous incidents of falls. Past medical history, current medical history, current medication, past medication, herbal, that includes herbal supplementation, mga over-the-counter drugs, food supplements, and then you have to conduct physical examinations, head to toe, cephalocaudal system by system. So, how you do the comprehensive geriatric assessment, the CGA, that's how you do it as well when it comes to evaluating the risk for falls or evaluating falls. So these are the interventions supported by medical literature. Okay, minimize medication. So this is a collaborative dependent function, prescribing exercise, strength training, treating visual impairments, supplementation of vitamin D, 800 international units per day, managing foot and footwork issues, may mga corns, if the patient is in need for assistive devices, kasi merong fracture yung paa, ano pa ba, may injury yung paa, or ano ba, yung presence of, ano tawag doon? Usually it's very common sa matatanda yung coin. Familiar? Ano ba sa ringkunada yan? Tagalog. Common yan sa mga matatanda. It's due to friction. The use for the need for assistive devices, could be cane, walker, or mga safety railings sa bahay, or if it's in the facility, dapat mayroong mga railings or handles, specifically sa bathroom. If there's a need to modify the home environment, then we could suggest. Sino yung nag-assessment ng safety ng home environment? It could be the physical therapist or the occupational therapist. Okay? Nakukuha po. And ano pa ba? O yung na sumunod na dyan, gate of normalities, na-discuss po to during the CGA. So, we will be skipping this, pero still, basahin po to. That will be included sa isa-send ko na file. Let's move on. Incontinence. Anong meron sa incontinence? Urinary incontinence. Ano yung anong meron sa incontinence? Ano yung iba't ibang klase ng incontinence?
Kung ba tayo po term yan?
Meron tayong tinatawag na acute incontinence or acute urinary incontinence or transient urinary incontinence. I repeat, transient or acute urinary incontinence. And number 2, persistent urinary incontinence. It's more prevalent sa mga babae, and usually it's very common sa mga institutionalized or yung mga nasa nursing home residents at risk to develop incontinence, yung mga multiparous women na nagkaroon ng hysterectomy, generally for both men and women, yung mga obese, ang mas prone to develop incontinence. For the patient to become continent, para, di ba, if you're trying to manage incontinence, we have to make sure ano yung requirement for the patient to go back to being continent. Ano yung mga requirement for the patient to become, or for the patient to be able to control urination again. Ano yun?
Okay. First,
Ay, wala yan. Wala pala.
thermal emergencies. Ano yung thermal emergencies? Meron tayong time.
Ano ba? You have any idea? Kasi di ba kapag incontinent si matanda, or generally the goal when we're trying to manage a condition sa matatanda. Kasi imposible naman na totally, especially with certain diseases or conditions, with the presence of multiple morbidities or multiple diseases, polypharmacy, multifactorial, di ba? Ang pinagdadaanan ng matatanda. One of our main goal is for us to bring them to their optimum level of functioning. Yung hindi sila nagiging totally dependent sa atin. Despite the condition, despite the situation, ayaw natin maging totally dependent sila sa healthcare team, sa primary caregiver, di ba?
Okay. Meron tayo.
Specifically with urinary incontinence, gusto natin maging manageable yun. Ano yung requirement? To make sure, to ensure that the patient will be continent again. The patient will be in control again ng urination. Ano-ano yan? Number 1, wala dyan sa slide, there should be adequate mobility. Kaya ni patient pumunta sa bathroom, nakukuha. The patient's mental status is what? The cognition of the patient is tawag doon, coherent. The patient is what? Conscious. Ano ba yung mga ginagamit natin description? The patient is motivated. There is the will to be able, the will, meron ha, the motivated sa patient to be continent again. Kasi mahirap kapag the patient is already hopeless, no matter how much we intervene. Remember, yung psychosomatic theory, what we manifest in life, where we put our mind into, it manifests. Nakukuha. And then number 4, manual dexterity. Functional ba yung mga kamay? Capable ba si patient to unbutton, to unzip? Capable ba si patient to open the door? Yung mga simple tasks with the hand. Yung mga fine motor skills na sinasabi natin. Motor skills. Okay, manual dexterity is ang it's a requirement for the patient to be continent again. Ay, pag natin kakalimutan, for the patient to be continent again, they need to have intact lower urinary tract function. The bladder is able to store urine. The contractility is adequate ng bladder. The bladder is able to expel the urine. So yun po yung mga requirements. So if the patient's mental status is compromised, is it achievable? Hindi po. Hindi motivated si patient, unmotivated. Of course, hindi rin. So yung mga sinasabi kong requirement for the patient to be able to be continent again has to be evaluated. Nino, tayong mga nurses. So these are the the technical definition of incontinence. There is involuntary loss of urine. It could be minimal amount of urine. It could be large amount of urine, depending sa type of urinary incontinence. And this involuntary loss of urine leads to a social or hygienic problem. Buha? Ito yun. Statistics. It can lead to incontinence, may lead to cellulitis, ulceration, social isolation, false institutionalization. Improvements can be made with an organized approach. So there are so many types of incontinence. Pero yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung transient incontinence or acute incontinence, anong ibig sabihin nun? These are yung mga sinasabi natin na transient incontinence. This is one. Passing lang siya, nare-resolve agad. Nakukuha, nare-resolve agad. Ano yung usually, what are the causes of acute or transient incontinence? We have the acronym diapers. Ano yung acronym na diapers to? Letter D, delirium. Letter I, infection. A, atrophic vaginitis. Letter P, pharmaceuticals. Another letter P, psychological in nature. Letter E, there is excessive urinary output. Letter R, restrictive mobility. And letter S, there is a stool infection. Those mentioned, the conditions, or yes, an illness, may all result to transient incontinence or acute incontinence. Now, meron din sinasabing persistent incontinence. Ano yun? Okay. Ang persistent incontinence, it could be overflow, stress, or urge. Sorry, so nalamunan ko. Isa-isahin natin. Kapag sinabing overflow, persistent incontinence, there is urethral blockage. The bladder is unable to empty properly. Matanong ko nga kayo, pag umiihi ba, totally na-empty? Na-empty ba lahat? Totally, si bladder. Wait, nakikinig ba? Na-empty ba totally si bladder? Hindi po na-empty totally. The normal post-residual volume is less than 100. So may natitira. More than 200 post-residual volume, it's abnormal. Okay? That may result to overflow incontinence kapag unable to empty properly si bladder. Okay? So how do you describe the leakage of urine? Si overflow, small amounts lang yung naglilik. Okay? Pwede rin po pala na si overflow incontinence. Pwede rin it is due to obstruction, anatomical obstruction. Halimbawa, may BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia, lumalaki yung prostate gland nung lalaki, matandang lalaki. So it napupress down si urethra. Obstructed na. That may result to overflow incontinence. May paninikip, may stricture. Okay, sa urethra. Merong cystocele. So this may all lead to anatomical obstruction. Pwede rin po si bladder natin nagko-contract, right? Nabanggit ko yan kanina. Pero if the patient is a contractile bladder na, hindi na nagko-contract si bladder, of course it will not empty properly. Very common yung acontractile, absence of contraction ng bladder. So may mga diabetes, merong spinal cord injury. Nalulubat na naman guys. Ayaw na ng laptop ko mag-charge ng maayos. O yun. Ano pa ba? Sometimes the overflow incontinence may be medication related. Okay? So ano naman si stress incontinence? The way it is illustrated, merong relaxed pelvic floor. There is increasing abdominal pressure. Ano yung mga instances na nag-i-increase yung abdominal pressure natin? Pag humahalakhak tayo, tama ba laughing humahalakhak? Oh yes, Rosaline.
Kapag nag-sneeze.
Okay, very good. Bumabahing. Anjing. Okay, bumabahing. Umuupo, very good. Thank you. Coughing, laughing. Ano pa ba? Sneezing. Lahat yan nagre-result sa increased abdominal pressure. So, ang stress incontinence naman, the leakage of the involuntary loss of urine is tulad ng overflow. Minimal lang, small amounts lang. Other than relaxed pelvic floor, other than intra-abdominal pressure, pwede rin pong mas common to sa mga babae, yung stress incontinence. Mga previous vaginal deliveries, lack of estrogen, previous surgery, hysterectomy, hysterectomy or mga post-CS, maybe a cause. May result to stress incontinence. Sa mga lalaki naman, very rare for them to acquire or develop stress incontinence. Kung magkaroon man, it could be due to prostatectomy or yung radiotherapy. So sabi natin, incontinence may also be a result of a medication or a procedure. Ay, naku. Ano naman si urge incontinence? Ito yung among these three types of incontinence, si urge incontinence ang merong involuntary loss of urine na malaki, large amounts or large volume. Bakit? Ang urge incontinence po, there is inability to delay voiding after sensation of bladder fullness is felt.
Kung imbalance ng kanyang electrolytes, dehydration.
Nakukuha po, associated symptoms po.
So,
Masasabi natin na merong urge incontinence kapag it is, the patient also is manifesting of chorea,
physiology.
there is urinary frequency, ano causes nito? It could be idiopathic,
Excitation increase.
there could be stone, tumor, local pathology ha. There could be outflow obstruction, there could be diverticulitis, and then pwede rin ha, post-stroke or any CNS disorders may lead to urge incontinence.
Okay. That predisposing factors.
Now, how do we assess? Maraming mga, we talk about, kung assessment naman, ayan, tapos na tayo. Ayan.
Social and normal.
Ayan.
Normal and elevated body temperature. Bakit normal and elevated body temperature? Siyempre, kapag may mga
Okay, ano yung dapat i-assess natin?
mainit ang pag-
The characteristics of the incontinence. We can utilize the bladder chart. Pwedeng merong examination. Ang tawag doon? Lumbosacral intervention. Sa mga babae, may tinatawag na cuff test. Inspection of the presence of prolapse. If there is atrophic vaginitis. And then you have to assess the mental state and mobility of the patient. Pwede rin may magkaroon ng mga diagnostic procedures. Urinalysis, checking for the post-void residual volume. Sabi ko nga, less than 100, normal pa. More than 200, we have to check now. We have to check now because more than 200 is abnormal. So it warrants what? Examination. Further investigation. And kapag, especially in the range of 200 to 300, there's a need to evaluate renal function within 3 months. More than 300, lead to assessment of renal function. With urology referral within 2 months. Now, let's move on. Ano yung management? Behavioral, surgical, ano pa? Pharmacologic, and catheters. So, mag-start tayo sa behavioral management ng incontinence. Ano meron dito? Pwede yung mga pelvic floor exercises, which is very useful for urge and stress incontinence. Bladder retraining, pwede siya sa urge incontinence. Ano pa, pag sinabing bladder retraining, ano yun? There's a it may result to progressive lengthening of intervoiding intervals. Ano pa, under behavioral, we could say na if we're talking about institutionalized patients, mga inpatients, yung mga scheduled toileting, 2 hours, every 2 hours during daytime and every 4 hours at night. We call that one scheduled toileting. Meron din tinatawag na habit training. Anong habit training? So you will make a schedule depending on the patient's voiding patterns. Scheduled training, scheduled toileting, habit training, prompted toileting. Ito naman, almost similar sa scheduled toileting, si prompted toileting. Pero ito, it's on request by the patient, si prompted. Every 2 hours din siya. What else? Okay, yung pharmacologic management, isa-isahin natin. Sa urge incontinence, Pwede yung mga anticholinergics. You have to watch out for the side effects of anticholinergics, okay? It may result to dry mouth, constipation, confusion, urinary retention. Pwede rin bigyan ng estrogen vaginal cream, yung may mga urge incontinence. Yung vaginal cream na yan, ina-apply siya every night, continuously for 1 month. And after that, 2 to 3 times per week na lang. Kapag stress incontinence naman, there is, according to studies, there is little role for medications. Pero, nagbibigay pa rin naman ng gamot to manage stress incontinence. Ano yung mga gamot na to? Mga imipramine, it's also anticholinergic, endoloxetine, it's a form of antidepressant, yung serotonin, norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor, pero it is also beneficial for patients with stress incontinence. Ang overflow incontinence naman po, if there is a significant retention, catheterization will be the option. Referral to urology may be needed for advice in medication or advice for surgery. Surgical management and other strategies. We have the bladder neck elevation. We have the periurethral collagen injections. Pwede rin yung Botox injection sa bladder neck. Pwede rin yung mga continence pessaries. Yung mga babaeng merong large prolapses, pwede po yun. When surgery is contraindicated. And do not forget the PURP. Ano yung PURP? It's transurethral resection of the prostate. Transurethral resection of the prostate. It's a common surgical intervention to manage urinary problems caused by enlarged prostate. Okay? Hindi na natin itatakal si insomnia. Let's move on sa basahin na lang po yan. I'll be sending this slide. I will be dismissing you 4:30 kasi may imimit po akong sa research. Okay, let's talk about pressure ulcer. Ito naman, it's very diverse. You need to know the different stages of pressure injury. Andito po yan. Basahin ha. There is the staging of pressure ulcers 1 to 5. Pero before stage 1, there is a suspected deep tissue injury muna. And then we have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. And unstageable. Basahin please. Now, itong mga to, the stages has a corresponding dressing. Ito po. As one of the management for pressure injury, dressing, there are various types of dressing for pressure injury. And it depends upon what stage na or anong extent na ng injury. So, ito yung mga different types of dressing. We have the alginate. Nakalagay naman po kung saan siya suitable. And ano yung mga side effects. Ito na lang, later. We have hydrogel, amorphous hydrogel sheet, I don't know if di-discuss na sa skills lab, pero meron kasi akong nakita before na instructor na nag-discuss ng dressings.
Non-exceptional.
Tapos packing, silicone-based dressings, silver dressings.
Or
Pwede rin po as a management yung sa nutrition, adequate nutrition or adequate diet, there is vitamin C or increased protein intake, protein supplementation, vitamin C. And then pwede rin surgical repair, direct closure, skin grafting, skin flaps, free flaps, musculoskeletal flaps for stage 3 and 4 ulcers. Sir, basahin po ito ha. Di-dismissing you early kasi marami akong inimit po na research. And nalaman ko lang na ako yung advisor kahapon lang. And then we have adjunctive therapies. And then further researches are being conducted, and it's very promising. There's really a future for the management of the pressure ulcers. Ito naman, recombinant platelet-derived growth factors, electrical stimulation, vegetative pressure wound therapy. Continuous pa po yung study nito. And then there's no data to support low energy laser irradiation, therapeutic ultrasound, and hyperbaric oxygen, but still, these procedures, these management adjunct therapies are being utilized. So as a summary, older adults are at high risk of developing pressure ulcers. Pressure ulcers may result in serious morbidity and mortality. There are so many techniques to reduce pressure, moisture, friction, and shear. And these techniques can prevent pressure ulcers. Kung meron na existing pressure ulcer, then it should be treated with proper cleaning, dressings, debridement, surgery as indicated. Kung tatanong kayo, ano yung friction, shear, and moisture? Yung moisture po, it could be sweat, stool, feces, urine. Ito yun, you have to read this one. Andito po yun. Pressure, shear, friction, moisture. These are the 4 physical factors that can lead to the development of pressure ulcers. There has to be presence of these 4 factors. So if you want to prevent pressure ulcer, then you have to tackle these 4 physical factors. Prevent pressure, prevent shear, prevent friction, prevent moisture. So how? By proper skin care and early treatment, by proper mechanical loading and support surfaces. Halimbawa, pag we are to transfer the patient from the bed to the stretcher, from the stretcher to the bed, or vice versa, hindi natin hinihila si patient, di ba? Kasi it may cause what? Friction. So, binubuhat natin. Yeah. Basahin po to. And then of course, patient education. These are the factors predictive of pressure ulcer development. Basahin nila po. And then you should be able to differentiate Norton scale from Braden scale. Ito naman po yung difference na kalagay naman sa reading with comprehension. Opo. And then refer to your book. Yung binigay ko kong PDF book doon. Mag-refer. Yun lang. And then Dito po, sa slide na to, you will see yung mga iatrogenic problems. We have the polypharmacy, which we are done already.
Alam mo,
And then, ito, nutrition, of course, malnutrition. Andito rin po siya. And then, ito naman, incompetence, intellectual impairment. It talks about yung sa confusion, what is delirium from dementia. Andito po yan. And andun siya, binigyan ko din pa kayo nung ano. Did I give it to you? Nung araw na merong Typhoon Christine, nag-forward ba ako ng babasahin? Hindi. Pinorward ko yun yung file. Check ko po. Ayun, yung delirium versus dementia. Basahin ko yun. And it's also here. So yun lang po. And thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry kung online lang tayo ngayon. So, utilize the remaining time sa research nyo. And likewise ako din po, I'll be meeting some of my advisory sa research. Okay, so thank you po. And remind me sa slides natin. Hindi ko pa ito masend ngayon kasi I have to edit pa. So yun lang po. Goodbye.
Si Sylvia Sanchez.